Hello everyone and welcome to my first video. My name is Ariana, aka the Wellness Student, and this is my first Tuesday Talks video. Now I thought I would make a video because today we are focusing on one of my favourite topics in health, which is skin health. For the people that know me, you will know that I am a massive skincare junkie. I love trying new products, I love seeing what works better for my skin, and yeah, I love skincare. Having my nutritional background, I do understand that what you put into your body really does reflect your skin health. Your diet plays a massive role in your skin, and particularly acne, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Actually, a few of you have said that my skin is glowing, and I'm so thankful for that because it's just so nice to hear, because I've had such a long journey with my skin, from having really bad acne since I was 12, kind of up to the age of 17. I also had really bad perioral dermatitis, so redness, bumps, rashes all around my mouth, and then it also spread up all the way to my eyes, which was not nice at all. I've also dealt with scarring as well, which is something that I'm trying to rectify at the moment just because of having acne in the past. I have done so much research into this video. It's taken about 2 days, so it's probably going to be quite a long one, so sit tight and let's have a chat. Okay, so I think the first thing then to just chat about is what actually is acne. It's a chronic inflammatory skin disease where your hair follicles, so basically your pores, they get blocked because sebaceous glands, which secrete sebum. Sebum is that waxy substance that basically moisturizes your hair and skin naturally. When your sebaceous glands go into overdrive and they create too much sebum, then that pore can become blocked, and then that results in redness, irritation, those spots that you get basically. And there's so many factors that can cause acne. It's definitely not just diet and what you put onto your skin. You have hormones, stress, makeup that you wear, medication that you're on, and also genetics. Genetics come into it quite a lot. They play a huge part. I think if you have a first-degree relative that has had acne in their lifetime, I think you're about 4 times more likely to get acne. So they do play a massive role. When we think about diet though, diet is a modifiable lifestyle factor. So you can change your diet to, you know, make yourself healthier and improve your skin. So that's a really, really good thing. But let's talk about then how the diet influences the pathogenesis of acne. I talk about gut health a lot on my Instagram. It is just so critical. Your gut is responsible for so many functions within the body, maintaining homeostasis, regulating inflammation. So inflammation is going to come into this chat quite a lot because the gut majorly regulates inflammation, and the way that it does this is your microbes in your stomach, they feed on fibre. You need to be having a fibre-rich diet to feed your microbiota, to promote the growth of a healthy microbiome, and they also produce metabolites called short-chain fatty acids. And these metabolites are actually have been shown to play a huge part in regulating inflammation within the body. And this is key because acne is a chronic inflammatory skin disease. And diet comes a lot into it because what you feed your gut microbiome will then determine how it performs these functions, such as producing these short-chain fatty acids and then regulating inflammation. Your gut has trillions of microbes that reside there. You have bad bacteria and also beneficial bacteria, and what we want is a harmony between the two, and that's called symbiosis when they're in balance with each other. You eat a more diverse and healthier diet, so more fruits and vegetables, you actually promote the growth of beneficial bacteria. So that's a really good thing because you can increase the diversity of the species in your gut microbiome, and that will help all the functions that the gut is responsible for. And actually, on the topic of gut, a few studies have actually observed that the gut lining in those with acne might be more permeable, and this is what we call leaky gut syndrome. And this is important when it comes to inflammation because toxins, endotoxins, foreign substances, maybe harmful substances, can actually flow into the bloodstream, and then that basically leads to chronic low-grade systemic inflammation if it keeps happening over a long period of time. So like the gut-brain axis that I've talked a bit about on my Instagram, there is also the gut-skin axis, and as I've just spoken about the inflammation and the way it regulates inflammation, this is related to your skin. In saying that though, the gut-skin axis is really just a theory. It's not been proven. However, all the mechanistic evidence kind of points to that it might be a real thing. We need more evidence though to prove that it is. So you're probably wondering then, how does diet come into it? Research has actually shown that especially in developing countries that follow the Western dietary patterns, characterized by increased intake of saturated, trans-saturated fats, high sugar, highly processed foods, alcohol. I think that's it. Basically a really unhealthy diet actually have an increased prevalence of acne, and this is strong evidence that proves this. One of the reasons is that there is more focus on fat and protein intake and less on carbohydrates, so less fruits and vegetables. As I mentioned before, your gut microbes love feeding on fibre, which comes from carbohydrates. So in saying that, the body is probably going to be more inflamed because there's less short-chain fatty acids being produced. Also, high sugar and fat consumed over a long period of time can actually irritate the gut lining, and that can actually cause a loosening of the gut barrier, leading to potentially leaky gut syndrome. And this has actually been observed because those who follow a Western dietary pattern have actually been linked to a higher endotoxin content in the blood, and that means that obviously the gut lining is more permeable, allowing for those substances to go into the blood, and that overall increases, again, systemic inflammation. And what that can do is manifest itself in your skin as acne. In addition, there has been some science saying that foods with a high glycemic index are actually linked to the pathogenesis of acne. A high glycemic index means basically that they spike the blood sugar quite rapidly as soon as they're consumed, and this may elicit an adverse effect of increasing insulin, which is the hormone that aims to bring your blood sugar down. The high glycemic foods are foods like potatoes, white rice, white pasta, and sugary drinks. Now, this is related because during puberty, your body actually produces hormones, sex hormones called androgens. And actually, more androgens is linked to increased sebum production. And there is a hormone called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, which can actually stimulate androgen production, meaning more sebum production. And some studies have actually linked high glycemic foods to IGF-1 and increased IGF-1 response, meaning when you consume high glycemic foods, this may increase androgen production and then further increase your sebum production, making it more likely that you'll get a blocked pore. Again, there is very limited evidence on this theory. It is a growing body of research, but when you think about it, I think it does make sense. And what about certain foods such as chocolate, dairy, gluten, the culprits that people say, oh, well, I broke out because I had chocolate, gluten and dairy? So let me just start off by saying something that might shock you. No certain food or consumption of a certain food has been linked to acne formation. So for people that have thought dairy, chocolate, gluten, etc. have caused acne, there's not substantial evidence backing this. In saying that, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. If you eat a food and you experience adverse symptoms, that is very likely to be a food intolerance, and it can manifest itself either as a digestive issue, such as bloating, gas, or in your skin. And this is because your body struggles to digest certain foods and proteins more than others. I'll use myself for an example. If I eat gluten and dairy, I get really bad digestive symptoms, and also I break out 2 to 3 days later. So I know there's a connection somewhere. I just wanted to quickly mention that I know I mentioned IGF-1. Dairy has actually also been linked to IGF-1, so it's not just high glycemic foods. However, the evidence is a lot weaker for dairy than it is for high glycemic foods, so we can't really back that and say, oh, dairy does induce IGF-1, which then stimulates more androgen production and then more sebum production. We just don't have enough evidence to conclude that. Food intolerances and their relation to acne is very much on an individualized basis. What might break someone else out might not break another person out. It's really just about identifying the foods that you might react to. So what about other dietary components then, such as antioxidants, healthy fats and probiotics? So let's just talk about antioxidants first, because this is a really important one. Antioxidants such as vitamin E and C are responsible for scavenging free radicals within the body. And free radicals are the damaging molecules that mainly come from environmental origins, such as pollution, smoking, and actually the Western diet is associated with increased free radicals within the body as well. And free radicals trigger what we call oxidative stress. That's basically the imbalance between antioxidants and free radicals. And what can happen in that case is free radicals can then interact with molecules in our body and cause cell and tissue damage. And this is actually related to chronic disease, such as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, for example. So it's really, really important to eat a diet rich in antioxidants to kind of counteract the effect of the free radicals. And they're most commonly found in fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds. But the reason why this is related to skin is because an increase in reactive oxygen species, those free radicals, is actually positively linked to acne formation. So the science was a bit unclear on this one, but from my understanding, because reactive oxygen species, free radicals, are very damaging, it can elicit a very pro-inflammatory effect. And also what I've read is that free radicals can actually target your skin directly, so your skin cells, the epithelial cells, causing inflammation in that specific area. But as I said, the science was a bit unclear on that one, so I couldn't really figure out what the true link was. I suppose kind of the takeaway message is just it's so important to eat a diet high in antioxidants to counteract the potential effects of the free radicals and the damage that they can induce. Okay, so secondly, let's discuss zinc, because this is quite an important one. I think it's one of the most studied minerals in its association with acne. And it's most commonly found in seeds, nuts, dairy, whole grains and legumes. And it's so important for aiding immune function, repairing tissues, and also it's needed for cell formation. And there is also a tiny bit of evidence linking zinc deficiency to acne. Some studies have shown that zinc elicits antibacterial effects and may actually decrease sebum production. Still kind of unsure about why this happens and how it happens, but we have seemed to kind of establish that there is a bit of a trend there. The evidence in this has only been found in those with mild to moderate acne. So it's very unlikely that if you have really severe and cystic acne, that zinc supplementation will actually help. Okay, if we talk about vitamin A as well, it's often found in orange and yellow fruits and vegetables, also green leafy veg. What vitamin A does is it promotes the skin cell regeneration and prevents inflammation within the body. Some studies have actually shown that supplementing with zinc and vitamin A has shown to be quite effective in reducing acne. Similar to zinc though, more research is needed because we are unsure why this happens. Vitamin A is a bit of a funny one because there's a very fine line between taking too much and enough, and if you take too much, it can be actually really damaging to your body. Okay, and let's get on to one of kind of the main ones, I think, healthy fats. So omega-3 is normally found in salmon, nuts, plant oils, and omega-3 are the most raved about healthy fats, and these are called EPA, DHA and DPA. I feel like omega-3 are the most raved about of all, because there is such strong evidence to suggest that they are really anti-inflammatory. And actually in Western diets, individuals are actually really lacking in omega-3, and this might be a contributing factor when it comes to acne formation. Research has actually also related omega-3 to strains of bacteria that produce those short-chain fatty acids from fibre, so could be a really strong link to acne formation as well. And in addition, omega-3 also might decrease IGF-1 in the blood, meaning there's less androgen production and then less sebum production, and then it's less likely that, you know, you'll break out as a result. So it's all kind of related, if that makes sense. And what about drinking water as well? I feel like everyone always talks about it. We know that water keeps you hydrated, and it helps flush the liver and the kidneys out, which are your main detoxifying organs. So it's really, really important that you stay hydrated. And water is crucial because it might make it a bit more difficult for your liver and your kidney to work, to function, to get rid of those toxins, which means that more toxins are circulating in your bloodstream, causing more inflammation, and then again manifesting in your skin as acne. In addition, drinking water ensures that your cells, especially your skin cells, are healthy, are hydrated, and also it makes your skin supple. And I'm not quite sure why this happens, but I just know that it contributes to hydration. So with having discussed quite a bit about gut bacteria, what about probiotics? So probiotics are actually live microbes that you supplement with, and they help to promote the growth of beneficial bacteria and help reach that state of symbiosis. So you would think that because symbiosis is related to reduced inflammation, that taking a probiotic might be beneficial. However, there's no evidence at the moment suggesting that probiotics can directly influence your skin and reduce your breakouts, considering the mechanistic evidence demonstrating that both dysbiosis and a reduced microbe diversity is linked to an inflammatory state. It might be safe to assume that probiotics may be beneficial when it comes to reducing inflammation in the body. I think quickly I just want to mention as well on the topic of gut health and everything. When I went to the GP and I was really struggling with my skin when I was 12, 13, 14, the first thing they did was look at me and they were like, right, she needs antibiotics, her skin's really bad, they're going to clear it up. So I think they put me on tetracycline, tetracycline they put me on. And I feel like they do this with a lot of people before kind of isolating the true cause of acne, because it could be diet, it could be sleep, it could be stress. Now, if I was to give any advice to someone, then maybe try different pathways first. So looking at your diet, sleep, stress, exercise, you know, just changing those lifestyle factors a little bit around and seeing if that makes a difference, because at one point I think I was on antibiotics for like 4 or 5 rounds, and as we know, antibiotics wipe out your bacteria even good, so it's very hard to build it back up and get that symbiosis again. I know from my long-term antibiotic use that is why my stomach is the way it is now. This is why I have so many gut issues, and also they didn't work at all for me. I don't know if it's the same for anyone else. My skin like didn't even improve when I was on them. Obviously, if it is a very severe bacterial infection, take those antibiotics. I'd say definitely just ask the doctor and say, hey, could it be, you know, my diet, my sleep, any other factors, because I feel like antibiotics are kind of the last route to go down, just because sometimes it's not your bacteria and sometimes it's a different trigger that's causing that acne formation. Having said all of the above, everything that I've just said, what diet should you follow? If your acne is bad, what should you eat? I think this part is basically just a massive summary of what I've said. Eat a balanced diet, get your 5 a day, aim for 30 different vegetables and fruits a week, increase your fibre, get your antioxidants in, fruit and vegetables, nuts, legumes, they're all ways that you can do this. and that will help your gut microbes in increasing the diversity of them, as well as promote the growth of the beneficial bacteria that you need. You want to get those antioxidants in to scavenge those free radicals in your body to prevent that oxidative stress, and you want that fibre so your gut microbes can make those short chain fatty acids that really help to reduce the inflammation in your body. This kind of goes hand in hand with fibre. You need to be adequately hydrated when increasing your fibre intake, and this is because fibre not only also is food for your gut microbes, but it also increases the bulk of your stool, softening it so that it's easier obviously to get out. That just means that you're losing a bit of water there, so you need to be adequately hydrated, and this will also help your liver and your kidneys with detoxifying your body. Omega-3s, we just discussed them. Eat oily fish 2 times a week. Salmon is the best one. If you're vegan, algae supplements, and if you don't like eating fish, capsules, gel capsules. Really key for reducing inflammation, and science has really backed that. I don't really know much else to say, just take your omega-3s basically. Next one is focus on your whole grains, slow releasing carbohydrates, low glycemic foods, mainly your whole grains, so brown rice, brown pasta, brown breads. You can just go on Google and there's a whole list of low glycemic foods that you can follow. These release sugar over time so you don't get that nasty blood sugar spike, the release of the IGF-1, and then the androgen production, and then the excess sebum production. So that might be something to try out. The next one is reduce your alcohol intake. Not only is alcohol quite high in sugar, it's actually also an irritant. So that gut lining that we were talking about, how it can lose its integrity and leading to leaky gut syndrome. Consistent consumption of alcohol can really irritate that gut lining and actually make it more permeable as well. So you really need to be careful with how much you drink. Next step is to think about food intolerances. Identify the foods that you think you might be intolerant to. Keep a food diary, write down when you eat, what you eat, and also your symptoms if you have any, such as breaking out more, digestive issues. So once you kind of identify what foods are causing adverse symptoms, then try eliminating those foods, but do it one by one so you can really isolate the true effect of that food. Give yourself 2 to 3 weeks, see if it helps, and then go on to the next food. So we talked about zinc, which is present in whole grains, seeds, nuts, dairy, and it might be beneficial if you have acne to supplement zinc in the form of zinc sulfate. So I've mentioned that previously, but try and increase your zinc intake by food first and see if that makes a difference. For vitamin A, don't supplement without consulting your doctor first. As I said, it can be quite dangerous, especially for your liver. Just like zinc, try consuming vitamin A rich foods, so yellow, orange, green leafy vegetables. If you do want to supplement, consult a doctor first. Probiotics, as I've said, there's no science to back this, that there is a direct influence of probiotics on the skin. However, I feel that there is a link, so I would consider maybe supplementing with a probiotic and seeing how you get on, because even if it doesn't do anything for your skin, it's still helping your gut and your gut microbes. And as I said in the beginning, acne is so multifactorial. There are so many things that can contribute to the pathogenesis of acne. We have hormones, stress, sleep, products you use on your face, exercise, genetics. They all contribute. It's inevitable that you're going to break out sometimes in your life. You know, I break out all the time, to be honest. And it's just really kind of identifying the trigger and the cause of it. And I just want to remind you that balance is key as well. There is no point in stressing yourself out if you've got acne and eliminating all these foods and say, oh, I'm never going to have something really high in sugar or fat again, because at the end of the day, you need to enjoy your life. You know, food is just glorious. Like, it's not something that should be restricted and cause more stress. So even though you should be feeding yourself to nourish your body, you should also feed your soul. And your soul probably really wants pizza, cupcakes, and all that good stuff. So I would say follow the, you know, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time healthy, 20% of the time unhealthy. Very loose, you know, rule. Do what you want really, but if I've said anything that you might think, oh, you know, I could maybe change that, then have a go and see if it works for you. So in saying that all, I think I've covered everything. It was a very long video, but now I want to get on to the second stage of the video and just talk a bit about what skincare I use. The video actually cut off, but I'm just going to quickly go through the products that I use, as a couple of you have been asking. Again, just to quickly mention, these products might not work for you. I've just kind of found that they've worked for me. So in the morning I use the Ren Evercalm Gentle Cleansing Milk, just because my skin actually can be really sensitive even though it's very oily. So I've been kind of trying that out. You can see I'm nearly done with it, and I've actually quite liked it. So I use that, and then I always tone. So I've been using this as well, the Ready Steady Glow Tonic. So that's one of my acids that I put into my skincare routine. And then I have been trying that out as well. You can see I've been trying a lot of Ren products just because they're vegan and also less harsh than quite a few of other skincare lines. So I've just been trying them out basically. So that's the Global Protection Day Cream, and then I've been trying out this sunscreen as well. Yeah, so I use those 4 products in the morning, and then in the nighttime I don't really wear makeup right now because we're in quarantine, so I either just use that, or every 2-3 days I use this scrub, which is the Wishful Yo Glow Enzyme Scrub. And this is a new product, everyone's been raving about it, so I've been trying it out. And I haven't really noticed any kind of difference. I'm kind of wondering if it's making my perioral dermatitis worse. So I don't know. Well, I suppose I'll figure it out as I go along. But anyway, exfoliate 2 times a week, 2-3 times a week. That's really key for your skin. And then also 2-3 times a week, after I've done either that or that, I will put on a little clay mask. So this is Aptivita Grey Clay Mask. It's basically just deep cleansing for blackheads and things like that. And after that I will either do 1 or 2 things. Either I will go in with my AHA tonic, so my toner, or I will actually use my retinoid, so my different cream, and this is prescribed by my dermatologist because it is literally the only thing that I have found has actually kept my skin clear. Yeah, so that's good. Then I will moisturize, and then I will put these on my big bad boys, so my spots, or in the areas that I break out. I use this on my perioral dermatitis as well. And then I just go in with my Vaseline as well. Got to keep those lips moisturized. I try and keep it as simple as possible because I notice when I use too much on my skin I actually break out. So yeah, so that is it. So I'm so sorry my camera cut out and died on me, like it has literally 4 times today while I've been trying to film this video. I just want to leave you with this note. I hope that maybe you've learned something today. Maybe you can implement something into your skincare routine or diet that might help you. And yeah, well, just thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you like this again next Tuesday. Bye.